The title is Sustainable New Settlement in MOSUL Using Eco-Containers. So the title is given as three important keywords: Sustainable New Settlement, which is the goal to achieve; MOSUL, which is the location; Eco-Containers, it is the manner to achieve the Sustainable New Settlement in MOSUL using Eco-Containers. The study will start by an abstract, then introduction, giving some definition of the problem, aims, questions, and evolution heads. After that came the literature survey that will embrace theoretical approaches of new settlements, and then MOSUL City. The theoretical approaches of new settlement will have two branches: the history and the 21st century. For MOSUL, we will talk about the location and then the problem from the history to nowadays. The container settlement will embrace shipping containers, container architecture, and then container projects. Eco-container housing application will talk first about the location, site analysis, philosophy, concept, functions, the use of the space, components of the site, blocks energy, drawings, cost, and then critics and SWOT. Introduction. Problem. Many cities and countries like Mosul, Aleppo, and others around the world deal with disaster, in some places earthquake, and in some others tsunami or war or similar other problems. These zones get totally affected by these disasters, and their citizens do not find any kind of solution to go through. As for the aim, the subject will highlight the problem of these cities after disasters stemming from the past until nowadays, and how container eco-settlements can be a solution for these zones that can be either temporary or permanent solution to deal with the problems and developments of these cities. The questions: are container housing a good solution for refugees after disasters? Are container houses cost affordable rather than traditional houses? Do container housing flexible enough to create different kinds of structures? The evolution head will be the density, identity, time of the building process, site flexibility, unit flexibility, reusability, security, accessibility, sustainability, and cost efficiency. Literature survey, theoretical approaches of new settlement, the history. The idea of new urbanism is emphasized by three main branches: regional planning and sustainable development of new urbanism, suburb design and practices, and finally, urban renewal. In addition, new urban communities highlight the importance of public spaces rather than the private ones. New settlement merge between communities, building types, and functional arrangements, coordination of the land use scale, and regional road networks, with highlighting the implementation of metropolitan region level, traditional communities level, and building streets level design works. The example of Garden City was known as an ideal theory of new settlements or new city planning in England up to 1970s. The city was merging two important concepts, the living and then the working, to manage living spaces and boost the economy for the settlement. The 21st century. New settlement of the 21st century are constructed merging economics, industry and politics, and are distinguished by the involvement of private sectors. The major focus point of these cities is the innovation, in addition to the investment to boost the economy and offer a better life, starting with the infrastructure to all the other details. Three different aspects value are related to the design of new settlement. First, exploring the physical value of the infrastructure, built environment and technology producing by the settlement. The second, examining the strategies for creating values for business by designing strategies, visions and politics. And the third, hidden the community and identity of the city. The concept of creating new settlements in the world needed to integrate the sustainability principles within the planning for these cities, then to achieve the management of urbanization and urban regional planning and create a balance between the economy, society. So if we talk about MOSUL City, the location. Mosul city is located 250 miles north of Baghdad city in the Iraqi country, in the opposite of the ancient Assyrian city of Nineveh of the east bank of Tigris River. The city is considered as the most beautiful city in the country. It is attracting the attention of tourists around the world. Iraqi people prefer to call it also Mother of the Springs. Mosul was demolished, destroyed, and looted because of some terrorism event that occurs in the country from the past. So let's talk about these problems. In June 2014, the whole world was stupefied by Daesh that grabbed the city that became the most significant Iraqi population center under the position of the terrorist group ISIL. That means the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant. The city reviewed worsen and collapse in education, facilities, healthcare, water, sanitation, electricity, communication, and services. In many decades, constructions on approximate number of 19,888 affected structure and 4,773 demolished one after much of the terrorist group ISIL. The final assaults in February 2017 in the second phase of Mosul West, the historic center of the city, the symbol place that which Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the self-promoted caliph of the Islamic State terrorist organization, before announcing the creation of the container settlement, shipping containers. The first picture shows shipping container loading pounds and load carrying pound. The second one shows structure and component. The container, it is a construction made of steel, constructed to carry a load and support the weight of loaded cargoes, transit and sewage with the strength of its system. The containers are fabricated to constantly be reused. A great number of them go into neglection, where their own companies process containers far from the demand or other economical reasons. The researchers has includes that about 20 million containers was neglected around the globe at all time, with over 1 million having no purpose other than taking valuable space. As for shipping container architecture, by therefore the use of sea containers in construction can lead to significant lower prices, largely lower prices if the design is budget-based. This architecture becomes more affordable. The modular nature of type constructions also allows building or houses in several phases according to the budget or the client needs. The containers, because of its dimensions, constitute a space, a room characterized by its uniformity. The interest of this box is modularity. It eases of combination in order to be able to create several rooms as. To understand the eco-container architecture, some projects done around the world will be presented as an example. The first example will be single house container Portability. This project was built in 2007 with a single container by Atelier Workshop 17. It is a container of 20 feet, like about 6 meters. It's perfectly in line with the New Zealand tradition. It is designed to accommodate a family of 4 people, characterized by flexibility, mobility, environment quality through its low impact on the site, and it is energy independent for 48 hours thanks to its solar panel installed on top. It has also terraces and natural ventilation. The second project will be the Collective Housing Container Project of London. The Container City project is one of the most symbolic and the most accomplished container architecture in 2001. It is a set of 12 second-hand 40-feet containers and stacked them on 3 levels. This set of red container is made in 3 mounts and installed in only 4 days, and each unit corresponds to a dwelling and a work studio for an artist. The characteristics of the space: it is flexible, mobile, having 80% of recyclable materials, sprayed installation, vapor barrier, and plasterboard panels on the wall and ceilings to improve the acoustic and thermal performance of the shipping container. The third project, it is a facilities project, Kitwonen. In Amsterdam exists the K-Tunen, considered as the largest university campus and biggest container settlement in the world, made of maritime shipping container. It is composed of 1,000 units stacked to 5 levels high and composed of 12 different buildings block of varying length. The characteristics of the project are flexible, mobile, having some inner courtyard located between buildings providing plenty of bicycle storage. In addition, all the units are designed with balconies and small separated gardens for the units in the ground floor. As we understand from the previous examples, sustainable eco-containers can be a good way of creating new settlement of housing, creating urban places, and also some facilities. So for the current situation in Mosul, a sustainable new settlement using eco-container can be a good solution to solve all the problems of the city. The project chronology will start by allocation, site analysis, philosophy, concept, functions, use of the space, component of the site, blocks energy, drawings, cost, and then SWOT. The project will be located in Iraq, and more specifically in Mosul, and more specifically in Mosul Forest. Mosul, together with the nearby Nineveh Plains, it is one of the historical center of the Assyrian people. It has very great importance, important background, and an important location. It is located approximately 400 kilometers north of Baghdad, 165 east of Syria, and 75 kilometers east of Erbil, and 120 kilometers south of Site analysis, relation within a natural environment. The picture shows a general photograph of a top view of the site, then a specific one, then shows the north view of the site, and then show the dominant wind, that it is a northeast directed wind, and then show the path of sun in winter and in summer also. The sun rays, sun path, and then the dominant wind. Relation with the surroundings. The site is located in a great location between the forest, that it is an agricultural ground, and then Mosul city, the new one, then the old city, and Mosul Park, then the river and the philosophy of the project. The idea of having a settlement especially designed for refugees highlight the fact that the term refugees was never related with the period. The idea of the project is having a land for refugees that can be a great potential and benefits for the city of Mosul in diverse contexts. First, being a great example of container settlement in Iraq. Second, a great example of ecological settlement. Third, a good energy potential for the city. Fourth, being an important node as a diverse activity open space, like having some squares, plaza, gardens, and forests. And finally, a great architectural potential place. The shape of the city was designed following the traces of the old plan of Baghdad city as a reminder to the old architecture of the country. The city was designed as a circular shape, embracing different rings of residential buildings and commercial buildings as well. The city was designed with an important landmark in the center, that is the Great Mosque and the Caliph Golden Gate Palace. These are some ideas that were applied to the project. First, the accessibility, especially for people with limited mobility, then the sustainability, cost efficiency, respect of the identity of the city, container reusability, site flexibility, and then the concept. The main concept of the project is summarized in the balance between different contexts. The main balance is between the history and the future, with bringing some specifications, characteristics, and identity from the past to a future time with the modern strategies. The project will be a balance between designing open spaces, closed spaces, and semi-closed spaces, between new settlement and modern town, between traditional local materials and modern materials, and then finally leisure, working, and the concept of the site. The site respects two main accesses and two secondary ones. The first main access is related from MOSUL right residential building parts within the river to make a site, the site like an important crossroad. The second main access is connected from MOSUL Park to the MOSUL Forest as a way to connect the existing potential within the new created activities. In the other hand, the first secondary access is related to the upper highway to the forest. The second secondary access is connected from the second highway to the river. Always with the concept. The site was designed to offer diverse activities for the settlement and the city of Mosul, holding an impressive activities related with the site potential, like activities related to the forest or related to the river, in addition to some cities and needs, like sport fields and the playing grounds. The road were wide, holding some bicycle path, car parking and sidewalk. As for the center of the project, it was a wind tower, which is a landmark for the project. It is an ecological concept and landmark covered by structure containers standing on top of each other and flipping like a tower to cover the wind tower. As for the shape, it is inspired of the shape of the old city of Baghdad, and the use of water within the site was like bringing the river inside the site and using river water and filtrating it by sand and herbs. The functions. Functions can be divided to two parts, main function and step function. If we consider the settlement, a location to live for refugees, the main function will be residential, commercial, governmental, and religious, and the secondary functions will be learning, culture, sport, agricultural, leisure, and similar. From another perspective, the function can be categorized as closed and open activities that lead to design the local spaces and blocks following to the instructions of the activities and functions. If we discuss the disposal of functions, we can see from the figure that it follows the specification context of the land, creating central functions and landmark, then distributing main functions around, then merging them with some secondary functions in an equal way. The use of the space. As we can see from the diagram, the land covers a surface of approximately 403,655 meters square. The use of land was manipulated in a way to have the maximum of building blocks, while the land it is already located near to the forest. It is not too much important to have some extreme huge green areas. The 42% of the open spaces, that means 170,000 meters square, do include only a small part of the forest that will be used as the agricultural leisure activities. The rate of the residential building cover 51%, that means 204,711 meters square distributed on different container building types. The rate of the commercial, governmental, religious, and cultural building blocks occupies 7% of the total land that cover 29,906 meters squared. The open spaces land is divided to three important parts. Green spaces within the project that cover 73% of the project the open spaces, then agricultural spaces that occupy 30%, and then some open spaces activities that occupy the 14%. Component of the site. We can consider that the site is formed of 5 different components. The first, open activities like parks or skateboarding places or some sport fields or etc. Then urban furniture, vegetations, superposed blocks, and then indoor space. Blocks energy. The container buildings were independent in terms of energy with the use of some monocrystalline solar panels on top of each structure that divide the energy to two important energies: home energy uses like space heating, cooling, lighting, appliance, electric, water heating, and refrigerations, then sorting energy for set. As for the drawing, the site plan. We can see that the site plan gives some different structures, different types, and also some different types of open space. If we talk about the building types in the project, the type 1, the building is made of 6 containers of 40 feet that give a total area of 168. It is a detached building for one family, standing floors. As for the type 2, the house is made of 7 containers of 20 feet. It gives an area of 99 meters square. It is also a detached building for one family and standing floors. As the third type, the building is combined of 15 containers that give a total of 428 meters square standing on 5 floors. It is a collecting attached. Type 4. The building is a combination of 27 containers from different sizes with a total of 554 meters square standing on 4 floors. It is a collect. Type 5. The total area of the apartment is 400 meters square and made of 12 blocks standing on 4 floors. It is a. To understand the cost of the project, this example was exhibit as a comparison between traditional house construction costs and container house cost. The example is one-story small apartment with 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 kitchen, and 1 dining, having an economical finishing container to decrease the price of the estimation. It covers a total area of 35 square meters and covered by 2 units of 20 feet containers. If we consider the house as a traditional house construction, it will cost $14,875. And if we consider it as a container house, it will cost only $11,250. Hence, you'll save over 32% when you use prefab containers in the scenario. As a result, in the relation to the project and also the consideration of this example, the land is embracing 8,400 diverse-sized container blocks. If we considered a mistake margin of 15%, we can say that the cost of the project will be $75 million for the number of going up to 33,600 refugees. If we talk about the SWOT analysis, the strength, durability, adaptability, easy to build, flexible, carry the heavy load, and also fast to build. If we consider the weaknesses, still need building permit and building codes. Not all the constructors and laborers can do this kind of projects. The labor hourly prices are so high. And if we consider the opportunities, it is warm in winter, cooler in summer, transportable, renewable, less expensive than traditional buildings, and fast to build. And if we consider the treaties, new containers are expensive. The old containers can be created problems sometimes, and the container house life is less than the traditional one. Thank you for listening.
I am Master Architect MARIAM. I am Moroccan. I'm 27 years old, and I studied in Qatar University in the beginning, and then moved to Okan University for my master's studies. And now I'm studying PhD studies in Okan University. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I'm glad to share my work and my presentation with you today. Thank you so much for listening.